Bueno, hoy les traigo un tour especial de una compañía que está ubicada al norte de Evansville que se llama Anchor. Que por cierto, les señalé, esa es Anchor. Recuerdan en el último video, Anchor es una compañía que produce carpas, casas de acampar, unidades como esta, las casitas que se usan en las bodas que son hechas de vinil, producen coberturas de piscina y muchísimo más. Así es que hoy les traigo un tour por dentro para ver cómo funciona todo por dentro y saber un poquito más de la compañía y cómo es para la gente que trabaja ahí. ¡Vámonos! So we're doing a YouTube series about everything that has to do with Evansville in Spanish. Maybe you know this, the Hispanic population has been growing tremendously over the last 7 years in Evansville. I don't think it's slowing down.
So very open environment. So this used to be kind of 1960s kind of shag carpet. And
Okay.
Lots of paneling and this and that. So I don't know, 10 years ago, we just knocked down all the walls, opened everything up. So this is kind of our sales area that sells our tents and clear span. And so this group down here sells those clear span buildings as well as tents.
And it's international, right?
Yeah.
Like international sales?
There's an international group. This is our purchasing team here. Planning group, they're the ones that take information that comes from sales. All of that group back there is engineering. And then this is another sales team. The sales team over here, they sell pool covers and awnings.
Okay.
It used to be where it was, you had the office, and you had manufacturing. And literally people that could have been here for 25 years in the office.
They never saw each other.
Once.
Wow. Is this the only anchor?
Yeah.
This is it?
We have a sister company kind of thing. And then we have 3 buildings here in Evansville, and all of our production comes out of Evansville.
How many, for example, umbrellas are you guys producing every day?
10 a day.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the whole umbrella itself. So it's just right here. Over here is awnings. So we'll make storefront awnings, like the awnings on the outside of our building. Every awning is a little bit different kind of thing. So yeah, so just different segments. Right here in Evansville, right? So this is framed. So if you picture a tent, it's either a pole tent with poles that go up in the middle kind of thing, or it's a frame tent. And so, or a umbrella would be a pole in the middle, right? So you have aluminum frame. And so this is our frame shop. Everything else that you're gonna see the rest of the company is all fabric. Like this guy's making cables on these big, huge tent. Cables is what keeps the frame up in the air. 2 CNC machines. So these are machines that can take aluminum. So you're gonna take a piece of aluminum profile. It can cut aluminum, it can saw it, it can drill it, it can mill it kind of thing. There's a finished piece. So it just starts off as a regular piece that comes from an extrusion company. You know, we'll buy it at certain lengths and such. And then here you can cut it, mill it, and drill it and all that kind of stuff. It's a weld shop in here, so we're welding like aluminum frames for awnings and such. That's an awning frame right there. You see that smaller aluminum frame. So you put fabric on that, and then it would be over the top of a, a store entrance, or that's the kind of thing that we have alongside our building. This is our next endeavor. We're gonna start. Now this is even bigger than our stuff. Our stuff would look like this, but this is literally, our stuff is all meant about being temporary. Everything we do is temporary. This is a permanent structure. This is a permanent warehouse. Yeah, our stuff would look exactly like this. The size of that beam is just, it's a little bit bigger than the biggest stuff that we make. That's temporary. This is meant to be a permanent warehouse. Like it's here could be here forever, could be here for 3 years. It still can be disassembled. Some companies, they want something that they, it's a construction site. And for 2 years, they want to have some kind of a warehouse. So it's a temporary permanent, but it could be here forever too. Like we had to get permits and such. But this is what the inside of a tent that's an A-frame, clear span tent looks like. And this is going to be our next world that we go after, is manufacturing and selling big warehouse tents like this. This will be Anchor's next big growth area. We'll be selling structures like this. So it would go from here into there to have the machining done to the aluminum and then become a finished good for a final product. So everything from here on is fabric. So these are called Eastman cutters. So Almost all the fabric we do, like in a final tent, it starts with a CAD drawing of what is the design of the tent, and then it gets laid out in this pattern so that you can most efficiently cut it to have the least amount of waste on the material. And that's what this machine does. It cuts it into a whole bunch. It starts as a roll of fabric. See, like that gray piece of fabric there, that roll. So starting as a roll, and it just comes off that roll and goes down that conveyor and gets cut as it goes. And it's all based on a CAD drawing. So that's going to come off on a skid. It's going to be cut in a whole lot of different pieces. And then as we go down through the rest of the plant, you'll see how we turn that into a tent. This is just kind of a sail right here. We call it web saw, and that's where you're going to have the different ratchet straps and such that are going to tension down, that's going to hold a tent in place, okay? Or it might tension down the fabric, so that's what this group is doing. So these are all just different fabric lines. You come in here and look. So this is the wall line. This is where walls are made for any tent model that we make. So walls are going to go from being cut down there. They're going to start down on that side, and they're just going to be processed. And we'll go to the front of the line and see how it processes. But this is a final. Diane's doing a final inspection. She's cleaning it up. She's looking to make sure it has everything that it's supposed to have. There's a whole inspection routine that she'll go through on the wall before it gets packed in a box and sent. That's her job, is to find defects, and if she finds the defects, she sends it back into the line to say fix this or fix that. Yeah, like
that can be fixed.
Yeah, like if that grommet was missing, and she notices the grommet was missing, it will go back to get fixed. Yeah, and we track defects on a daily basis. So this is a wall that's a standard wall. You can see it's kind of like a dry cleaning rack, if you picture that. So it just keeps it up off the floor and allows it to ergonomically run through. These are all standard walls. These here are custom walls. Here's a mini mart. So anything you need to run this line, all the parts and pieces are here. So it used to be 10, 15 years ago where you got a team member or lead team member that's saying, I'm out of this, I'm out of this. You're constantly calling the warehouse. Can you get us here? Da, 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 and you're waiting for 4 hours or 6 hours. A mini mart gives you everything you need when you need it. So this used to be, you'd just get a whole skid of stuff to make a wall. And nothing has more parts and pieces than a wall. Little triangles, little this, little that. Well, you gotta weld them together the right way, or you end up toward the end and you got a wall that's not right. So you'll see that's a fabric welder. So what's happening is that, so now they're pulling it through and they're gonna join another 4 foot width of fabric. So you'll see them line it up. See how those are just two unique pieces, but they'll line it up, and then for safety reasons, they've got it. Okay, when that bar came down, for about 2 seconds, there's what's called radial frequency. So that is heating up the molecules inside that tent, and it's melting the molecules, and it's creating this incredibly strong bond. Bonding it together. So you can see this started with these different pieces, and everywhere you see that,
that's what they're doing there,
is an actual weld. So here Joe's putting some snaps. This is going to hang up on a track. This wall is going to hang with those hooks. So what she's doing is putting that on the wall, and then she's going to turn over here and she's going to be able to do some kind of sewing operation. She's literally one of our best right there. She's very, very good. And then it's going to go from there back up into the system and go down to another operation. She's doing a sewing operation. Now she's putting grommets in this wall. This is a pull cover. This is a mesh. This is a mesh pull cover. So again, this is a final inspection check. Those guys are inspectors. They'll go through and they'll measure it. They'll check the straps. They'll make sure everything is good. And then if they sign off on it, then it gets rolled up and put into a box to go to another station where it's going to have all the parts and pieces that it needs, and then go to shipping to ship out the door. The mesh cover is sewed. All of this is sewed, whereas the vinyl pull cover has a lot of the welding like you just saw on the wall line.
But this is all sewn.
This is all sewn. So a lot of pool covers are replacements where we didn't make the original, like they might be good for 10 years kind of thing. If we didn't manufacture the first time, then we have to bring in their old one because they want us to manufacture the next time. And so here it's just the floor where they're laying out and measuring it because it's custom, everything's custom. So they're measuring the whole thing, and then from here it will go to cells. But this is kind of a repair area. Like we'll bring tents in that need repairs or whatever. So they start here, raw material that gets cut over in the Eastman. So here's a tier 1.
Oh, this is the fourth.
Yeah. So this is where they get together every morning and just talk about the results of the day before. And you know, how are they doing? Were there any accidents? What kind of quality? Like they had one defect yesterday, so they'll talk about what that defect was. They're welded there. This is mostly a welded product, but there's some sewing that's happening by the guy in the middle. This is our training center. This is where somebody new would come in for 3 weeks. We'll have an orientation next week where we'll have like 25 people that'll be up in that second story there. It's another training center where we go deep on Anchor and our history and our values and where it is we're at today, where we're trying to go with our true north, what our goals and strategies are. So we go deep with team members on what we're trying to accomplish as a company and where we're going. And then we kind of challenge them to do the same. Think about their own dreams and aspirations, where they want to go. It's a smaller facility, and we brought all of the operations of making these pergolas into this building so we could separate it away from all the other activities that we got going on, because it's just a very different product aesthetically, and lots of parts and pieces, and just very different.
Cuando yo entré, éramos 5 latinos contándolo.
¿En serio?
Nosotros cerramos en diciembre del 22, cerramos con 69 latinoamericanos. Y lo más espectacular para mí de todo esto es que son de distintas latitudes. Tenemos gente de México, Perú, República Dominicana,
Colombia,
Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, el Ecuador, Honduras. Hemos tenido de Cuba, también tenemos gente de las Islas Marshall,
sí,
que no son latinos, pero afortunadamente buena parte de ellos hablan inglés y eso les hace entrar en el carril rápido. Y también tenemos gente de Vietnam. Esta área justo al lado de la planta número 2 es donde tenemos un modelo de alguna de nuestras estructuras. Es la mejor forma que nosotros tenemos para mostrar físicamente qué es lo que nosotros hacemos acá. Por ejemplo, aquella que está allá, que está cerrada, es justamente una de las que él te estaba explicando, que la estructura, como ves, es como una casa. Ese tipo de estructura guarda la fortaleza para tener dentro cualquier tipo de artefacto que pueda ayudar para ventilar la estructura, como aire acondicionado, incluso calentador, también sujeta ventiladores, incluso lámparas. Entonces, buena parte de esas estructuras son las que puedes encontrar en el borde, porque son suficientemente fuertes como para poder mantener y agrupar una buena cantidad de gente por el periodo que tú quieras. Tenemos un departamento de ingeniería que son los que nos ayudan entonces con la física. ¿Ok? Con la física, y que además cada una de nuestras estructuras, por ejemplo en este tipo de paraguas, hagan la sombra adecuada. ¿Te has preguntado alguna vez por qué si yo estoy debajo de no, la sombra está por allá? Todo tiene que ver con la física y la diagramación que hagas en el plano para la estructura, y por eso muchas veces le llamamos perfect shape, porque hace una sombra justamente donde estás. Una vez al año vienen representantes de ventas de varias partes y hacen recorrido por la compañía para entonces volver a entrar con nosotros en trabajar en conjunto para la venta. Entonces esos dealers envían a sus representantes para saber cómo estamos en calidad, en propósito y todo eso, y entonces volver a generar contratos y ventas. Es bien chévere porque ellos pasan por cada departamento y le van estableciendo cuáles son las metas que tenemos. El tema del español siempre reina a conversar, porque es cómo lo logran, cómo
más personas como vos, es lo que necesitan en cada departamento. ¿Cuál es la mejor manera para aplicar para un puesto, un empleo acá en Anchor?
Bueno, las personas pueden venir hasta acá y recibir una planilla física donde van a hacer el llenado de la aplicación, y nosotros ahorita mismo ya tenemos la opción de tener la planilla en español, por lo que una vez que ellos vengan para acá no va a haber ninguna limitante para saber qué llenar y cómo llenarlo, y qué es exactamente lo que me están preguntando.
Muy bien.
Una vez que hagan el llenado, lo dejan acá en la oficina principal donde recursos humanos pues tiene la información y pues lo estaremos contactando tan pronto haya la necesidad para tener nuevas contrataciones. Cuando nosotros reclutamos, traemos a la gente generalmente con el fin de que pasen entre 2 a 3 semanas por el centro de entrenamiento, donde nosotros le entrenamos para tener los conocimientos básicos de cómo soldar y cómo coser. Pero, por supuesto, esas son habilidades que ellos van a desarrollar más profundamente una vez que sean asignados a sus departamentos. Antes de que ellos se vayan del centro de entrenamiento, nosotros llamamos a su futuro líder y hacemos que ellos se conozcan y que ese líder conozca parte del currículum que esta persona ya logró trabajando con nosotros, porque guardamos sus mejores ejemplos entre soldadura y costura, identificados con sus nombres, y él tiene o ella tiene la oportunidad de mostrárselos y ellos pueden tener un diálogo. La gente no es asignada a dedo en el turno. Una vez que tú llenes la aplicación, tú dices en qué turno tú quieres trabajar. Y conforme a la necesidad que tenga la compañía, entonces eres asignado a lo que tú originalmente solicitaste. En el centro de entrenamiento, cuando tenemos hispanos, nosotros tenemos un documento donde guardamos las palabras claves para que ellos se vayan familiarizando. Y de hecho, en una columna tenemos la parte fonética para que tú trates en lo posible de leerlo como si fuese en español, pero para alegrarla, pronunciarla en inglés. Y hoy día ellos tienen el libro de seguridad, lo tienen todo en español, y además de eso el manual del miembro de equipo.
Me encanta algo.
¿Te encanta?
Sí, o sea, la compañía en sí como es, para sus empleados, me fascina.
Sí, es una compañía familiar.
Sí.
Y es ahí donde está el toque.
Bueno, Ulmara, muchas gracias
para servirte
por ayudarnos.